I think as Amazon's community engagement or philanthropic programs, our vision really is how do we harness Amazon's scale? Everybody knows, about our e-commerce business. How do we harness our scale and innovative spirit for strengthening communities, not just for now, but also for future generations? And people may ask, when there are so many engineers in India, why an Amazon Future Engineer program? The point is that within the million or so students who are enrolling every year in these technology courses, the percentage of people who are actually coming from underprivileged sections of our communities is a very, very small number. Now, things need to become, if we need a level playing ground, the idea really is how do we enable equal opportunity and equitable opportunities for all students, irrespective of their economic background. So that's essentially what we are trying to do.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have with us Ms. Anita Kumar. Anita Kumar heads the CSR and corporate philanthropy programs for Amazon India and APAC, with a mission of enabling young people to thrive. She is especially interested in investing and partnering with innovative social change organizations and entrepreneurs. Amazon's community programs in India span education, disaster relief, and employee volunteering. Prior to joining Amazon, Anita has worked as a development consultant for a decade across research, strategy, and impact assessments in diverse areas, including education, skilling, gender, drinking water, and health. In her previous avatar, she led the sales and go-to-market strategy for Procter and Gamble for 5 years. She holds a master's in development from the London School of Economics and an MBA from IIM Calcutta. Dear Anita, thank you so much for joining us. It is a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Asta, for having me here. Pleasure to be here.
So to begin with our interaction, tell us a little bit about your journey in the development sector.
Sure. I think it was pretty much a journey into the development sector. So I think, like many typical Indians, I had a engineer, then MBA kind of background. I worked as a software engineer, and then I worked for almost 5 years in FMCG sales and go-to-market with Procter and Gamble. It was, I would say, one of my first experiences which brought me face-to-face with ground realities. I traveled across India, but primarily handled Punjab and Chennai sales. And it was very, very interesting to actually meet with people while on my job and really understand the diversity of the country and the issues faced. So that was, I would say, the kind of spark. 5 years into my FMCG sales career, the usual epiphany struck on I need to do more. And that's when I decided to transition to the development sector and started with doing a master's. But over the last decade or so, more than about 10, 12 years, I've primarily worked as a consultant, research and strategy consulting in the social impact space. So I worked with nonprofits, I worked with funders, philanthropic funders, CSR, I worked with governments on a variety of topics. I would say my career has followed more curiosity versus a plan. So it's just been, follow wherever the road takes me, not necessarily, okay, this is my 5-year plan or something. So it's led to a lot of ups, a few downs as well, but it's been very interesting at every step to learn even more about a topic, even more about a geography, more about problems and how to solve them. So it's also been very, very inspiring journey overall. I joined Amazon 2 years ago. It was a chance to be in a role which was more from a corporate point of view. So for 10 years, I was a consultant looking at corporates, looking at nonprofits. It was always a third party view. So this was the first time from a social sector point of view where I was looking from inside out, and it has been an interesting journey.
Well, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Anita, for sharing that, for sharing your journey with us. Moving on to our next question, what is the overarching vision of the organization and who are your stakeholders?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the question. I think as Amazon's community engagement or philanthropic programs, our vision really is how do we harness Amazon's scale? Everybody knows, about our e-commerce business. How do we harness our scale and innovative spirit for strengthening communities, not just for now, but also for future generations. Now, this is a very overarching vision for us. Now, what does it translate into on the ground? So, who are our primary kind of customers and stakeholders? Our focus, first and foremost, is young people. So, students and other young people, primarily between the ages of 10 and 24, who come from underserved, underprivileged backgrounds. Those are our primary kind of customers who we want to work with. The second very important customer and partner for us are our nonprofit partners, through whom we reach our customers and with whom we co-create our programs. The third kind of segment and a big key part of our programs are our employees. As you probably know, we have over 100,000 employees in India who are full-time, apart from our other contract workers, and globally we are more than 1 million Amazonians, and this is, I believe, a very strong kind of base for us to work with when it comes to giving back to society. So these are our three primary kind of customers and stakeholders.
That sounds great, Anita. In fact, you mentioned that given the scale of Amazon, how you have different, programs in place, you have a certain vision for the organization. Can you tell us some of your philanthropy programs that you work on in India?
Just to be clear, we have multiple community engagement teams working within Amazon, because there are different teams and each team could have its own community program. So I handle what is probably the central corporate program. So I will talk a little bit more about what we do. So in terms of our fundamental philanthropic programs, we are primarily look at three programs. Our flagship signature program is the Amazon Future Engineer program, where we look at bringing high quality computer science education to government school students primarily. The other big program we work on is disaster relief, where we try and respond to disasters within a very short period of time, given our strength in logistics. And finally, we take our employee volunteering very seriously, and that's a big part of what we do. So these are essentially covering. Apart from this, we do, one-off programs. These are our year-round programs, but one-off programs which we do, for example, during the holiday season, the last 2 years we've done is a program called Delivering Smiles, where we've looked at bridging the digital divide through device donations. And this year, again, we have something in store for that.
Well, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. You mentioned about the Amazon Future Engineer being one of your flagship programs. So what are some of the key aspects of AFE program, and what are the opportunities available for students as part of this program?
Thanks, Asta. So as you know, Amazon's one of our strengths is technology, and we believe that technology is not just about consumption, but really about ensuring everybody becomes a creator, right? And it is about unleashing creativity and unlocking human potential, and the power of computer science to do so. And while talent and passion is spread across all students, opportunity, unfortunately, is not always available to everybody. And just as an example, we have more than 1 million students today enrolling in computer science and engineering courses in India. India, as you know, is probably the powerhouses when it comes to software engineers. And people may ask, when there are so many engineers in India, why an Amazon Future Engineer program? The point is that within the 1 million or so students who are enrolling every year in these technology courses, the percentage of people who are actually coming from underprivileged sections of our communities is a very, very small number. Now, things need to become, if we need a level playing ground, the idea really is, how do we enable equal opportunity and equitable opportunities for all students, irrespective of their economic background. So that's essentially what we are trying to do. And there are many reasons why we see fewer underserved students in these courses, right? Lack of opportunities, lack of role models, lack of awareness, and many times it's also limited resources. A computer science programming course requires access to a device or internet, which may not always be available when it comes to the schools they are studying in. And what Amazon Future Engineer program aims aims to do is really address this gap, right, by bringing early exposure and access where we can. And it is, in a sense, a comprehensive childhood to career program, which tries to bring about this vision of computer science for all. And the way we do it, just to kind of briefly summarize, is three kind of prongs of it, right? What we call explore, learn, and build. One, we enable career connections and computer science exploration activities for kids, and this could be in K-12 across, primary, middle school, or secondary schools. One of the key components of it is career explorations through a program called Class Chats, where Amazon employees who work across, many diverse careers connect with school students, both virtually and in person, talking about their own journeys, a little bit more about what that role entails. So it gives earlier exposure and gives an opportunity for students who may otherwise not have an opportunity to connect with role models to actually ask their questions, know more about what does life in such a organization or such roles look like, how do I get there. So Class Chats is one such program, but we have many exploratory activities like Hour of Code. There are small resources which could be self-driven or facilitated, and this is comes under what we call exploratory activities, or where we build curiosity and initial awareness in the students. Second, we look at what we call learn, which is really about creating and curating accessible, relatable, and industry relevant computer science learning experiences, and these are typically aligned to school education. And one of the key innovations here, or the decisions we have taken, is to invest in mobile first computer science learning opportunities specifically for India, because we know in India specifically, most learning happens, especially if it's distant, happens over mobiles versus computers. And we've been working with, globally, we have invested in an organization called code.org, which is a nonprofit looking at very high quality computer science curriculum. So for India specifically, we have looked at curating that curriculum in different languages, contextualizing it for India, and that's something we do in our learn kind of activities. And very importantly, one of the things we do there is focus on educators and teachers, because end of the day, when we have 128 million students studying in government schools, the biggest point of interface for us becomes teachers, and therefore teachers are a very important part of who we work with. Lastly, when it comes to building careers, where there our focus is on post K-12 students, because as I said, it's a childhood to career program, and while there is early exploration where there are a lot of learning resources, the idea really is to provide opportunities for these students to also get into colleges or get into careers which are of their choice. And there, to begin with, we work on what we call the Amazon Future Engineer scholarships. This is focused on girl students who wish to pursue, technology careers, and typically, they come from weaker economic sections. Annual family, income could be approximately 1 to 3 lakhs rupees. And that is another way in which, apart from scholarships, we are exploring other things like internships and skill building activities in computer science. So between these various interventions, we try and kind of provide a comprehensive experience within the Amazon Future Engineer program.
Well, that's really amazing. I'm kind of speechless here. That's a really, really holistic program, from talking about not just the service delivery part of it, but actually ensuring access to such services, devices, the technology that is at hand. And then definitely one very important component that you talked about is the localization of the content. Because truly, if you have to reach to those under, those who we call the underprivileged, it is very important that we, deliver the content in their own language so that they can actually take benefit from it. So kudos to you. Well done there. But while you were talking about all of this, I was wondering about the implementation model. So could you please tell us what is your implementation model, and how do you deliver your programs to students in government schools, especially from underserved and underrepresented communities?
Absolutely. Astha, at the backbone of our Amazon Future Engineer program is really our nonprofit partners. as I was just mentioning, when there are 128 million students, and this is more than 50% of the K-12 students today in India study in government schools. And that's like the largest systemic infrastructure we have in the country, which we absolutely should all be leveraging in order to give the best quality experience, right? And so we partner very closely with different state governments and the central government as well through our partners, through our non-profit partners. Now, there are different ways we work with our partners. One, they are extremely aligned with our mission. So we all speak the same language when it comes to what our mission is, how we want to deliver it. Uh, we've worked with them over the last year and more to actually have discussions, debate, and really come across with what are their strengths, what do we bring to the table. So we act as equal partners in creating this program. Now, how do we work with them, and what is our implementation model, as you called it, right? So the partners we work with are obviously people who have feet on street. They are the ones who work with schools, either supporting teachers and management, school management in delivering programs, or alternately, they have their own teachers as well, who are resource personnel, who actually provide these courses on the ground. So there are 2-3 ways we do this, in which we work on implementation, right? One, we have created, as I said, multiple computer science exploration activities and opportunities and learning opportunities. So for example, we have invested in 2 mobile first applications developed by nonprofits, one being Code Mitra by Pyjam Foundation and the other being Meraki by Navgurukul. Both of these are mobile first contextualized coding platforms, and Code Mitra has been used extensively by teachers and students in Maharashtra. We've just about launched it, and Meraki again by multiple students who are just beyond the K-12 system and getting ready to get a job. So both of these are what we believe long-term scalable investments on how we can take a program beyond just school. So that was an example of content investments which we have made. The second way we work in terms of implementation is really creating models of excellence. So partners like Pyjam Foundation have built, Pi Labs, where they work in partnership with government schools and create these labs and demonstrate what can be done with limited resources. So these are, low cost labs with, few devices, but what device plus curriculum plus teacher facilitation can really achieve is something they demonstrate, and then governments in many cases take it up themselves. This is the same model we follow, for example, with people in primary schools in Delhi. So they in fact have recently been called out, shortlisted in one of the world's 10 best government schools as well, one of their model schools. So they are able to showcase and demonstrate by example what can be done in a limited resource setting, but what is the excellence which can come. Similarly, our other partner, for example, the Innovation Story, who's based in Bombay, has demonstrated, even it's been such a pleasurable surprise for us to see students who have never even seen a computer before. These are students who live in slums, they study in their local government schools, they've never had access to a computer. But what do you do when you create an atmosphere and an infrastructure where they suddenly have access to this, and you have really passionate educators who took them all the way from seeing a computer, feeling it, to actually digital literacy, which is just the basics of computer, to all the way up to robotics, where they have learned how to create basic robots, scratch coding and whatnot. They have gone on to participate not just in national contests. I'm happy to tell you, we have students who within a 3 to 6 month period have got trained within our program and are now participating in international programs as well. So these are again models of just excellence. But we also have programs, partners who work at scale. So whether you look at Learning Links Foundation or American India Foundation, or today for that matter, Leadership for Equity. In Maharashtra, for example, we have worked with the Pune Diet, which has created a curated course called Certification Course on Coding Fundamentals for Teachers. And the response has been overwhelming from both Diet as well as the teachers. and 212 teachers actually completed this 40-hour module. And these are teachers who have never studied computer science themselves, but now who are confident enough to take it forward. So between, there is this focus on creating content and curriculum and bringing content and curriculum. So we don't need to always create things from scratch, but whatever is available, can we contextualize it, translate it, make it available? So that is one part of it. To really creating these models of excellence which others can take forth, and whether it is Asha for Education in the South, for example, to the new partners, Quest, Alliance, and all of them. And then we have this whole scale where you actually have feet on street, you're enabling teachers, you're enabling systems. So that is pretty much our implementation model in a nutshell.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Besides AFE, do you work on any other programs, and how do Amazon employees engage with your programs?
Yeah, that's a great question. As I said, now just coming back to what are our other programs, I did mention disaster relief being one of our flagship programs globally. This is primarily because, again, the idea is if we have infrastructure, we have logistics, we have last mile and first mile, transportation, which can be used to deliver parcels, but you can also use it for good when the time arises. So, for example, COVID response during the second wave was one of the largest cross-continent responses we had done, where thousands of critical oxygen equipment was delivered to over 450 hospitals across the country. So we repurposed at that time our logistics network to actually deliver what is in need. This year alone, we have responded to over 17 disasters across multiple states, be it the Assam floods, be it very recently the Bangalore flooding and Ramnagara and all of that. We have responded to each of these places. We pre-position what is called relief kits. Typically, it contains things which people who have been evacuated from their temporary housing can use. It is useful for them. So these kits are positioned in 3-4 different locations in the country. And when a disaster strikes, we are able to activate it and deliver it within 24 to 48 hours, so that it is quick response. So that is a big program which we are very committed to as a company. Employee volunteering is, as I said, something we have just started exploring. We really want to learn more and see how we can leverage the passion and expertise of our very diverse workforce into doing good for communities around them. We launched what is called the Global Month of Volunteering very recently. We are in the midst of it right now, about to end. It was 1 month of kind of volunteering across the globe, where across Amazon, over 35 countries, people participated in different volunteering activities, be it planting trees to transforming schools to teaching kids to mentoring kids. There were different ways in which they gave back. And we are learning a lot about what we are doing right, what employees want, what causes impact, what does not really lead to long-term impact. So we are getting a lot of feedback, and we will be working on it. In Amazon Future Engineer specifically, and how Amazonians give back, I spoke about class chats. It's one of our main programs where we work on what we hope is a long-term impactful program. So we want these are employees who are certified over 4 to 5 hours of training, so they know how to sensitively talk to students and teachers. They prepare their content which is useful for students, and once you are certified as a class chat volunteer, you can give multiple class chats across the country. So that is one way in which we are engaging employees, but there are many other ways we hope to start experimenting with soon.
That's amazing. 1/3 of our lives we spend at workplace, so it becomes very important for the employees to feel a part of the organization, like feel like a family, and that's how the ownership comes in actually.
Absolutely.
Anita, you've mentioned some amazing programs, some amazing initiatives that are being carried out at your end. What are the major challenges you face in executing these projects?
So challenges are many, of course, but I would say our scale is ambitious, in the sense that we want our programs to be impactful at scale. That's really our fundamental aspiration. We want as many young people, as many communities to become stronger, to become, self and independent. And we are still at very early stages of that. So we are constantly grappling with how do we scale our programs, but at the same time maintain the quality. But at the same time, I think India is a diverse country. So the key challenge really is in terms of how do you provide local language support, how do you take the same program in, as you rightly said, different contexts and make it work. And we are completely at an early stage. We're still learning. We are learning from other corporates. We're learning from our partners every day. And obviously, we're learning from our communities and students who we work with. So we really take our feedback very strongly. And we are very, kind of open on bad feedback. In fact, we welcome critical feedback, be it from our customers, because we really believe that helps us make our program stronger. So we have strong, what we call voice of customer programs, where we constantly collect feedback from the ground on all our programs and make it stronger. So there are a lot of challenges, I would say, primarily around diversity and scale. And these are some things we are trying to innovate on every day.
Well, when you have challenges, it means that you're doing something which has not been done before. Otherwise there would be a model where you could implement everything so easily. So thank you. But once again, thank you for sharing that. And to end our interaction on a positive note, would you please tell us some of the success stories from your programs?
I think since we've been talking a lot about Amazon Future Engineer and also the volunteering piece, in Amazon Future Engineer is exactly 1 year old. It's going to be 1 year old. We launched on 28th of September last year, and I'm happy to say that in this 1 year we've reached over 300,000 students across 3,000 schools, right? And this is across 10 states currently, and every student for us there has been a success story, right? It's been something which we have learned along with them on how to reach them. And each of them have had diverse. So they've had either a single interaction on class chat, or they're undergoing a 40-hour course, or they've got a scholarship. So these are many kind of, for us, successes. And we really count these small wins every day, and we are grateful for them. At the same time, on volunteering as well, I think we're very happy to see the kind of overwhelming participation from our employees. And we believe we have just sparked the revolution within our employees who want to do more and more. And we're really looking forward to harnessing that spirit.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so very much, Anita. So thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure speaking to you and, listening and, knowing about all the programs that are there. We wish you all the very best, and we hope to keep in touch.
Thank you, Asta. Thanks for the opportunity.